Hi everybody, it's Bonkai922. I know I shade. I know this is late. Dorohedoro time. Oh, he's dead. um, so let's get into this. Dorohedoro, season 2, episode 8. Chaos Shock slash Black Box slash Room 501. Now, it comes to fruition. Yes, Ian is dead. Now, the shocking thing about this scene, as someone who's read the manga, I find it intriguing to see this again and knowing where it leads to, because I like what the anime did here. I like what Mappa did here. It took its time in this episode to show the ramifications of Ian's death, of what it meant, of what it does, his influence on the magical world. You even see, like, Noi telling Shin, hey, I fucking hated him. I hate him. I don't like him at all. So, so on and so forth. But basically, this episode focuses on the ramifications of Ian dying with his family. Nikaido, which is a huge thing, massive, has huge ramifications of what she is, her magic, what happened, whole big thing. And obviously the cross eyes. We don't get to see Ayakawa in this episode, with Ayakawa being Kaiman and all that jazz. We just get those three things, and two of those things collide with one another. So let's start with Ian's death. So everyone around the world finds out about it. The cross eyes find out about it. Everybody knows. Fujita was questioned by Shin and Noi about it, and he couldn't tell. That is how insane this boss is of the cross eyes. He is such a mysterious character, but anyone who's actually seen him is scared shitless, to the point where they don't want to think about it, they don't want to talk about it. They become frozen in fear. And for good reason. This guy is essentially, well, he's a beefed up Kaiman. A really beefed up Kaiman. He's a Kaiman who can take out anyone. It's unbelievable. Now, unfortunately, of course, we don't get to see his face, which is a reveal later on. We kind of do, and if you look at him, he does kind of look like Ayakawa in a way, but that's for later on. So, the whole Ian thing, Shin, Noi, they're going back and forth about it. He's eating chicken. Eventually, there's this character who I don't think was... Last time we saw this guy was back in season 1. Turkey. Now, Turkey has a turkey on his head, of course. Chaos reigns supreme. And he tells them, because this guy basically, his magic power, he can make people out of dolls. So he could take a person who had seemingly died, or they don't know where they are located, and if he can get a hold of their smoke, their magic smoke, he could make a copy out of them. Out of food. That's Dorohedoro, man. So basically, he uses the smoke from the Ian smoke, and he actually he makes a pizza. He makes a freaking pizza, puts it in the oven, and there's Ian's body. Of course, Fujita sees this, and he's like, oh, he faints. But the doll wakes up, it gets dressed, and they follow it. Eventually, what occurs, there's a huge chase scene, which, holy shit, was the animation in this episode. Top tier. Top tier. They're going through this town, the town where they're chasing Ian's doll, Shin and Noi. I was like, where did this animation come from? They're going through these buildings. I was like, whoa. Very high quality. Thank you, Mappa. Now, eventually they get to a stop and they come to a building. It's the same building that the cross eyes are at. Doguga, which is the scene basically of the cross eyes finding out that Dean was killed and they're going about their business. And Doguga, one of the cross eyes, calls the boss. But he talks to him. The boss says nothing. This guy's like a mute. And he hangs up. Now they go to the building. Shin and Noi go to the building. Now, before the whole confrontation happens, we see Ian's head. And there's a hole in the back of it. And it's just sitting there. And the boss is there. So, logistically, what must have happened was he took out Ian's devil. Because if you don't know, in Dorohedoro, sorcerers have a small devil inside of their head that allows them to create smoke and all that jazz. Now, that's kind of where the episode ends. Nothing really occurs after that. The other part I want to talk about is Nikaido. Now, her magic, if you don't understand what's going on, is time magic. And basically, what had occurred, which is really, really fucked up. But she was a little girl and she didn't know better. She used her time magic with this black box thing. And she saw her auntie and uncle. There was a little girl who was with Nikaido and her big brother. And she floated down a river. And her uncle and aunt were supposed to get her. They didn't. So essentially what she did was she made this person, I think her name was Yakumo, never exist. Because it never happened, because she interfered in time. And she has this nightmare, and it's insane. We actually see a grave. It says some nameless soul. Wow. So Nikaido is really fucked up. She's an interesting character with how much baggage she has about her magic and everything. Until she's talking to Asu, and they also find out that Ian has been killed. And, Nikaido finally gets the amount of convincing from Asu to go ahead and to use her magic. Now, that's more or less what happened in the episode. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 because the atmosphere, the animation, anytime Dorohedoro decides to show this guy, the boss of the Cross Eyes, it becomes a completely different scenario. It becomes a completely different show. Different anime, different manga, however you want to call it. The aura around this guy is sinister and deadly. He just completely just freezes everyone in place with the amount of fear that is brought upon them by his mere presence. But good episode. I like where it's going. Now, here's the thing. I like to actually, when I'm watching the Dorohedoro, I like to go back to the manga that I have. And just for shits and giggles, take a look at where we're at. They're in volume 12. Yeah, like halfway through. This is episode 8. Now, let's see. How many is that? Okay, we got 11. I thought it was 12, but we got 11. So that means we got 3 more episodes. This is what I'm thinking. I think they're going to go through. They're definitely going to be finished with 12. That's a fact. I think they'll probably get close to being at the end of volume 13. Now, it seems like with the way Mappa is doing the content and how the pacing, the basic pacing of Dorohedoro has been basically 7 volumes per season. Now, if that's the case and they stop at the end of volume 13, season 3 will probably end with volume 20. This is just my guess. I'm just guessing. Basic speculation here. Now, here's the thing about that. There's 3 more volumes. And if you've seen the manga and you've read the manga and you've seen how it's structured, and if you've seen the last volume, holy crap! I don't know how they're going to do this. Personally, from my perspective, it might be best to just continue the way they're doing it, and then the last 3 volumes, they just come out a short season. Which is good, because if they come out a short season, you get more time and everything. But that seems like where we're at. But overall, like I said, 9 out of 10 for this one. It's going to get crazy. Once we get to a certain point with this series, like, once we get past, I would say, volume 13, 14, it gets insane. More insane than it already is. That's how crazy it is. But overall, 9 out of 10 for this one. 3 more episodes. 11 is 12. But that's what we want to do. But that's all I got for you guys. Bankai 922. Hopefully next week I can do this on Wednesday. Get so tired after work. But I'll see you guys later.